You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. Why does she behave this way? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. From time to time, I will see across social media the extensive discussions about Harry's wife. She, of course, is probably one of the most talked about people on the planet for a variety of reasons, chief amongst which is people's disgust at the way that she conducts herself and the way that she behaves. There's detailed discussion on Quora. There's detailed discussion beneath YouTube videos. You can see Reddit threads dedicated to discussing the latest snippet of gossip about what she has done, analysing it in detail, offering hypotheses and theories about what's actually going on. There's discussion and speculation on Facebook, the wars that take place with the Sussex Squad on Twitter, the below-the-line commentaries and discussions often breaking out into hostilities as people take sides and debate the behaviours. Of course, we're used to seeing the idiotic outpourings of the shuggers, but it is interesting that notwithstanding the reach of my work and those of you that sensibly watch it, that there are still many, many people who are in the dark as to why Harry's wife behaves in the way that she does. You all understand that she behaves this way because she's a narcissist. I see elsewhere that people make reference to her being a narcissist, but they don't necessarily always understand what that means. There are many people who haven't yet grasped that she is a narcissist, and that's what drives her behaviour. They think it's because she's a grifter. They think it's because she's obsessed with money. Some think it's because she's simply evil. The fact is that you can utilise this video to consolidate your knowledge and understanding of why she does as she does, but also I'd encourage you to direct people to it, so that if you are wanting people to understand why she behaves in the way that she does, or you see that they're mistaken in their beliefs, you can direct them to this video and tell them, you need to understand precisely why she's doing what she's doing. Here's the answer. So often I see in the comment section in various places people espousing theories which are hopelessly wrong. That people are genuinely confused. They don't understand why she's doing as she's doing. Primarily, of course, they don't understand narcissism, but they're also judging it from their perspective. How can she not see that what she's doing is outrageous? Why isn't she able to read the room, they ask. How can she not realise that she's such an odious individual, they implore. She behaves the way that she does because she is governed by her narcissism. Imagine it like an invisible force that exists to protect her, that exists to not only help her survive, but is there to help her thrive. Think of it like a life support system. You have a life support system. It tells you when you're thirsty by making your throat uncomfortable, so you seek hydration. It makes your tummy rumble. It might make you feel lightheaded when you're hungry, so you seek out some food. It causes you to experience pain when you injure yourself, so that you take action to address that injury by perhaps stopping the activity that you're engaged in and seeking out some form of remedial treatment. Furthermore, you have a support system that has imbued you with certain empathic traits to a greater or lesser extent, so that you, in your day-to-day life, function in a way whereby you recognise the value of cooperation and sharing, that you have a particular moral compass, that you have a viewpoint on certain behaviours, that you act with a certain degree of compassion, a certain degree of caring, a certain degree of truth-seeking, a certain degree of honesty, that you also have narcissistic traits which impact upon you in terms of acting with pride, argumentativeness, defiance, resentment, and so forth. But all of this combines to create a life support system for you, which operates in a way that's different to the narcissist. But the important thing is that you have a coping system that enables you to get through life, not always with 100% effectiveness, but largely so. Her narcissism acts in a similar way. You behave the way that you do because you'll be governed by a degree of emotional empathy, a degree of self-interest driven by narcissistic traits, and of course certain basic needs. Harry's wife is driven by certain basic needs. She needs water, she needs sleep, she needs food. But also she's governed by her need for the prime aims. And her narcissism exists to enable her to achieve the prime aims. You don't need the prime aims as a non-narcissist. She does. She must control anybody and everybody that comes up on her radar. She must draw fuel from them, which is their response to the things that she's done, which validates her existence. Whether it's being booed, whether it's applause, whether it's being praised, whether it's being given money, all of those things validate her existence. She must acquire character traits from other people, effectively stealing their personalities, their achievements, in order to make her look good. She also requires residual benefits. She needs to operate a facade to dupe people, a facade that she's kind and empathic. She has a particular interest in money, which is a residual benefit. She requires fame and status. Her narcissism is like a background app that is always running in relation to when she's interacting with people to ensure that she controls them and sometimes draws fuel from them and sometimes gets character traits from them and sometimes gets residual benefits from them. She always has to control people and nearly always must draw fuel. She doesn't always necessarily need character traits and residual benefits, but she requires them at some point. And therefore, her behaviour isn't because she's a gold digger, but rather she gives the appearance of being a gold digger because of her narcissism. Her behaviour isn't because she's a grifter, but she gives the appearance of being a grifter as a consequence of her narcissism. Her behaviour isn't because she is evil, but it gives the appearance of being evil as a consequence of her narcissism. She behaves this way because her instinctive, unaware narcissism guides her actions and responses and conduct. It causes her to behave in a particular way so that she is then motivated to pursue those prime aims that I've mentioned. It isn't because she's a gold digger, it's because she's a narcissist. And ensuring that people understand that everything, I repeat, everything that she does when it comes to another person is governed by her narcissism will enable them to make sense of why she does as she does. You don't have to like it, and in many instances you'll think, how strange. But once you grasp that it's her narcissism driving her to behave in that way, and you access more of my content explaining the various behaviours of the narcissist, you'll go, I get it now. The fact that she wasn't invited to this particular event wounded her and threatened her sense of control. So her narcissism needed to get her to do something to bring attention onto herself. So she organised several puff pieces to be rolled out about her latest recipe that she's contributing to a cookbook. Thus, that was an attempt to overshadow her exclusion and draw responses from people, so she got fuel as well, and nullify the threat to control posed by her non-invitation. I get it now. Before I just used to think that she was a self-centered attention seeker, but now I recognise there was a threat to control. She needed to nullify that threat to control and draw fuel, and her narcissism caused her to do that by the issuing of PR puff pieces. Now I understand why she did the one tear trickling from her eye at the funeral. The fact that it was a funeral about somebody else wounded her, made her feel insignificant and vulnerable. So her narcissism stepped in, and it created the appearance of sadness on her behalf to provoke people to comment about it. Some saying, oh, look how sympathetic she is, others to decry it as an obvious act of manipulation. But now I understand it was done to prompt a response and draw fuel. So the next time you see somebody struggling in a comment section, below the line, wherever it might be, as to understanding why Harry's wife behaves as she does, or where you see that they get the wrong answer, you can now step in and say, the reason she does as she does is because of her narcissism. And this video explains it all. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.